Welcome, everybody. This is the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, your favorite podcast on communication, corporate training, and of course, professional speaking. I'm very excited for today's episode because I have a very special guest for you wherever you're watching around the world. And this is a phenomenal personality that you definitely discovered for yourself. In today's edition, my name is Oliver Nshom, and I'm going to be your host, and I'm so excited about it. So, friend, speaker, aspiring speaker, established speaker, I would love to charge you to do one thing as we dive deeper. I want you to get your notebook, get your pen, because it's going to be a masterclass because we're dealing with one of the best in the industry. And I'm talking about not any other person, but the one and only Sebastian Yuskati Gold. Welcome, Sebastian.
Hi, Oliver. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. So if somebody is joining us live from YouTube or whichever platform they're going to be watching us from right now, Sebastian, what are the three things that you expect everyone to go out of this room with after we're done?
Well, the first thing is, especially if you have an audience of entrepreneurs or beginner speakers, is you need to be able to articulate your purpose and mission better, right? So even if it comes down to something as simple as writing down whatever your goals are, whatever it is that you want to do out in the world, whatever it is that you want to change in other people's lives, write it down, articulate it effectively. Nothing is going to ever make you more money or more successful than being able to communicate what you're trying to achieve efficiently. That's the first thing. The second thing is find people that need to listen to that. More important than your voice and a stage is having the right audience. Speaking, you can have the best product, the best voice, the best keynote speech imaginable, but if you're saying it in front of the wrong people, you're going to get nowhere fast, right? So I've seen brilliant people talk to the wrong audiences and get no results out of it. Conversely, I've also seen people that don't necessarily have the best product, don't have the best
That's
message or
pretty
voice.
interesting.
Yeah. And they speak in front of the right audience and they're able to change lives, change the
Hmm.
world. And number three is continue to persevere through everything. Those first two steps are going to be difficult. Getting on stages, getting your voice out, it's difficult, but never stop and start today.
There we go. Never stop, but start today. And so, Sebastian, as we get deeper into this conversation, for those who are watching us right now from different parts of the world and they don't know exactly who Sebastian is, or they know you as the founder of Speak Up Express. So, what do you want our audience to know about you?
Well, first and foremost, I want people to know that I am not a speaker. Well, I'm a professional speaker by title, and I've spoken on the United Nations, I've spoken on TV multiple times, but I'm actually deeply introverted and I have a speech impediment. I have a speech disability. I have a stuttering problem that I've been able to overcome.
Hmm.
So, why do I introduce myself as someone that has obstacles more than introducing myself with my achievements? Because I want to show people that it's possible. No matter who you are, it's possible to overcome, it's possible to achieve, it's possible to be more than what you are today. And if there's one thing that I aspire to be my whole life is walking evidence of that. So that is who I am. Someone with obstacles who never let that stop them.
Thank you so much. This is interesting. Just before we dive in, we have people from Africa, Singapore, United States, and from all around the world that listen to this podcast. We just want to hear one of them what they have to say about the podcast, even as we dive deeper. Enjoy this short break as we're going to be right back to kick off. Okay, so we're going to be right back. Thank you, everybody, for watching that. This is quite interesting. And thank you for sharing your thoughts, our viewers around the world. And so, back to Sebastian. So, what actually inspired you to get into the speaking business the year you started, Sebastian?
Well, the main inspiration, I actually ended up speaking completely by accident. I was 20 years old. I was struggling to get my businesses off the ground as an entrepreneur, and both my parents had just lost their jobs at the same time. So I was in a position where it was very sink or swim. And I'm an only child. We had really no hope at that point. I thought we were going to go homeless.
mm,
And just when I was at the end of my line, broke, no money left, businesses failing, no new clients coming in, I got invited to speak on a stage at a church that I would attend. That was the first time that I really got on a big stage and spoke in front of maybe two, 300 people.
mm,
And what happened was, for the first time in my life, I felt like I was being heard. For the first time in my life, I felt like people weren't just scrolling past my ads or being disinterested in what I had to share. I felt like every word that I said was coming right out of the mouths of the audience. The lives that they were living and mine were one and the same. Every moment that I walked and held that microphone on stage felt like I was dancing with the audience. We cried together, we laughed together, we resonated together. And when I walked off from that stage, suddenly almost every single person from the audience was blowing up my phone, signing up to my business, working with me. And that was the breakthrough
mm.
that saved my family from homelessness. Because when you connect your business to your passion, to a purpose, and most importantly, to an audience, you can finally, and for the first time ever, change the world.
Wow, that's a very exciting story. And when I look at you, I see people around the world that would definitely resonate with you. Now, I think about people who are listening to us right now and they have almost buried their voices. They have almost buried their stories. And look at you. At the age of 20, you got an opportunity to step into the stage and you were able to actually deliver your baby voice that has been there, your story that has been there. And what do you have to say to people out there listening and who be listening that got amazing stories from different parts of the world. And because of fear of making mistakes, because of fear of the unknown, they are still skeptical about ushering these stories and bringing out these versions of them out there. Sebastian.
Well, that's a great question. What I'll tell them is, so much brilliance in the world goes to die in the dark because of insecurity. So the way that I like to put it is this. I'm not sure if I ever told you, Oliver, but I'm writing a book. I'm looking to publish a book
Oh,
very soon. The book is titled "You Are a Genius, but You
okay.
Sound Like an Idiot," which is
Hmm.
a title that I like quite a bit. The whole point of the book, one of the first things that it says is, you don't have to be a genius to be a speaker. It is within your speaking that you discover the genius that was within you all along. There's a lot of people with amazing stories that they don't ever articulate out of insecurity and out of fear. And what I want to tell those people is that you are being selfish.
Hmm.
You are being a selfish person because your story was destined to change lives. You have
Hmm.
suffered in your life for the things that you have worked so hard to overcome,
Hmm.
and you have suffered in vain. You have suffered for nothing unless
Yeah.
you can let your experience guide other people. Speaking, opening your mouth to share with the world is the first and only time in our lives where
Hmm.
all of our blood, sweat, and tears can really shine for the first time and
Hmm.
help other people. Speaking turns suffering into solution. It turns suffering into something that connects people, brings them together, inspires them, and saves lives, more importantly than anything else. So if you have a story and you're too ashamed or too insecure to share it, I'll go as far as to say it is your duty to the world to overcome that insecurity and get on stage.
Awesome. Oh, I love the title of that book, and what you're saying resonates so much with me. You know, a lot of people ask me from United States and Africa, especially that what inspired you to be doing all of the stuff you're doing, building an ecosystem of speakers, of by speakers, to speakers. And I think about the pain. I think about being thrown out of school because of lack of school fees, and my mom working a distance of over 12 kilometers plus to and spending 2 weeks to just come back home and give me less than $200 and sending me back to school. That pain really inspires me and then puts me on fire every single time I go to the stage. And when I listen to your story, I really really resonate with this, and I am so blown away by this inspiration that is coming up. And today you are the founder of Speak Up Express. And tell me, which are the kind of people that you work with, and what are some of the success stories you had with the people you worked with, Sebastian?
Yeah. Well, the criteria for people that I work with is very simple.
Okay.
I only and exclusively work with people They don't have to be the best speakers. They don't even have to be established speakers. They don't need to be entrepreneurs. They need to be someone with the audacity and courage
Mhm.
to say, hey, I've got something that I want to share with the world. I'm not afraid of that anymore. That's who
Oh.
I work with. So I work with all different kinds of people from all different kinds of backgrounds, from people who are already professional speakers to people who aren't getting paid to speak but want to start getting paid to speak, and some people that have never even spoken before but want to start.
Mhm.
So my biggest success story has been with one of our largest speakers, his name is Dr. Philip Meade. He's a
Mhm.
NASA scientist. He's the guy who NASA hired to speak after the Columbia rocket explosion to
Mhm.
fix the issues that NASA was dealing with at the time. And he did just that.
Mhm.
However, Dr. Philip is someone with a very powerful story, but surprisingly, not a lot of powerful stages until after we worked with him.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I realized was his networking, his connections, and most importantly, his voice weren't being utilized to their maximum potential. So we sat down through a couple of coaching calls, and then I worked with him as an agency to connect him to better stages. And now in 2027, he's going to be speaking out in TEDx Chicago, Dr. Philip
Mhm.
Meade, which
Wow.
is incredible. It's an incredible breakthrough. I believe it's either going to be at TEDx Chicago or TEDx in Orlando,
Mhm.
which is where we're at. And that is our greatest success story. I mean, there's agencies that are charging tens of thousands of dollars to just send out applications for TED. And we're
Mhm.
able to do that for a fraction of the price for Dr. Philip within just a couple of months of work. That's a major breakthrough for us. So that's a story that I'm happiest with.
Wow. That's so huge and massive. And I'm excited that as the speaking industry is growing, you're scaling up and you are doing something as far as this particular industry is concerned. And now, Sebastian, you are in the speaking industry not just as a speaker but as a coach of speakers. And what that means is that you are not only contributing as a speaker into the statistic, but you're also contributing to building speakers, not only aspiring speakers, but you also work with established speakers to tweak their presentation. Now, let's look at statistics. Global speaking, that is the global speaking profession or the global professional speaking industry as of 2034, Sebastian.
Mhm.
Global market size approximately 3.5 billion by 2034.
Yep. Yeah, it's exploded.
From
Really, it's true.
2025. Now, look at this. North America is expected to remain the largest market, accounting to more than 35% of the global revenue from the speaking industry. And when you look at these statistics, how the explosion has taken place, what is the hope for people who are aspiring to speak in North America and in other parts of the world? And what do you intend to do for them to actually contribute, participate to this national cake?
Well, let me do you one better, Oliver. There's a better statistic that I want to share with you.
Okay,
90% of people, and this is a real statistic, by the way,
okay.
90% of people are more afraid of public speaking than dying, which
Mm,
is unreal.
yeah.
What that goes to show is that by having the courage to speak, even if all that it is, hey, I decided that I'm going to get on a stage in this year, something as simple as that puts you ahead of 90% of people. Just
Mm,
that, which is
amazing.
unbelievable to think about. Now, combine that with a growing industry and a growing demand for speakers,
Mhm.
and it's very obvious that this is the career, this is the path that's going to explode whatever it is that you're doing. If you're
Mhm.
an author, you need to be a speaker. If you're a business owner, you need to be a speaker.
That's
If
right.
you have a story, same thing, you need to speak. So, what I say to that, Oliver, is very simple. It's clear where the money's at. It's
Mm,
clear where the success is at. Now, the real question is who's going to take advantage of that? Who's
mm,
going to get out there and make a career out of this? The most special thing about speaking, in my opinion, besides the impact, of course, it's the fact that it helps you stack vertical income very easily. When you build a personal brand, you
mm,
are solving the global industry's three most expensive problems all at once.
mm,
The last 20 years, entrepreneurship has completely changed. All the entrepreneurs that I grew up watching, the methods that they would preach, they don't work anymore.
mm,
And the reason why is because we're living today in an authenticity drought where
mm,
people need to connect with people and they don't care about logos and corporations. There are massive corporations falling apart because they can't solve these three problems, which is trust, connection, and authority.
Mm,
Only people can do that. Only people and voices can solve those problems. Public speaking solves all three at the same time.
mm.
You're not only building a network, you're building impact, you're making sales, you're building your name up, you're getting paid for your speaking, you have books that you're publishing now. It is 7 streams of income all in one. So again, if you are called to speak, it is your duty to do so.
I love it. What do you have to say to those who aspire to speak right now? Probably they want to launch a speaking career from 2027, 2028, 2030. What can every aspiring speaker who is listening to us right now begin to do? What are the three things they have to start doing right now in order to situate themselves in the speaking space as of 2027?
So if you're looking for practical advice to actually establish yourself once you're already a speaker, we can get into that. I think it makes sense to first start off with advice for people who are not even in the speaking world at all, right?
Mm,
So I'll share this 3 simple steps for non-speakers, 3 simple steps for existing speakers to take their career to another level. For
mhm.
non-existent speakers, the best things that you can do is write. It helps you articulate yourself mentally a lot. I would say
Okay.
work on writing a keynote. Craft a speech that you're passionate about. It doesn't need to be your whole story, but just something to practice, right?
Mhm.
Secondly, I would always suggest working with a coach, something that fits within your budget. And thirdly, you want to work with an agency because finding stages on your own is nearly impossible. Working with
Okay.
an agency, some of them are more expensive, some of them are more affordable. Find something that works for you, is flexible
Mhm.
for you, and
Mhm.
start getting out on stages. Practice your speaking. Maybe even go to Toastmasters if you need to. Whatever is going to help you improve, but get feedback. Now, if you're an existing speaker and you want to take your career to the next level, without a shadow of a doubt, you need to have a book out. Work with a publisher, work
Mhm.
with a ghostwriter, whatever it is that you need to do to get this book out, get it, have some kind of what's the word, endorsement from some other
Mhm.
speakers if possible. There's a lot of
Social
speakers that
proof.
will sell endorsements. Yep. Get it to be a bestseller. Work with a publisher that has a vote of confidence and can help you get that book to being a bestseller. It will help you get with event organizers a lot. Secondly,
Mhm.
continue to work with an agency. Agencies are designed to help you get events that are going to elevate your portfolio to be more appealing and more likely to get you booked out and paid by other event organizers. And thirdly, and lastly, what I would say is arguably the most important thing is never negate your online presence. Take
Mhm.
your stages and make it into content. Your personal brand is everything. That's where people are going to go to book you and naturally come to you forever and for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
Build. Don't let your stages be a one lucky stage that you got. No, take everything and build yourself up from there.
Okay. Interesting. What do you have to say? Most speakers started and they were given the advice you got to write a book. They wrote a book, they wrote the second one, they wrote the third one. But yet, they still struggle to say to those people who actually already have a book in the market, the book is not necessarily the bestseller, but they're like, okay, I was due to write a book. I've written a book, I've written the second one, the third one, I'm working on the fourth one, but yet I don't have the kind of breakthrough that I have been. I'm sure you must have come across people like this or clients like this. What do you have to tell them?
Work with a different publisher. That's really it. Your publisher is everything when it comes to getting your book out. If you're working with the right publishers, they will help you edit the book to have better hooks, have a better everything, better appearance, better marketing, better from front to back, a better launch. If you have published multiple books and you're not getting to that bestseller status, work with a different publisher, take a different approach, get feedback, explore the market, do some research as to what's going to be more appealing. I wouldn't say that you need to have a bestseller to be a speaker, not at all.
Mhm.
It's simply a good vote of confidence that event organizers look for.
Mhm.
But even just having a book is already good enough, right? I wouldn't focus too much on that if your
Mhm.
career falls into different categories. I
Mhm.
would say maybe just focus more on the speaking side once you do just have a book out. But if what you really want to do is be an author,
Mhm.
look at your publisher, look at your angles, look at where you're approaching this from, look at your industry, and think what's going to make this next one that I write a
Mhm.
bestseller. Okay.
Awesome. So, can you become a great speaker without having a book? Is it necessary to
Absolutely.
Okay?
It's not necessary to have a book.
Hmm.
It's a very logical thing to do. Here's why. As a speaker, and again, now we're talking about streams of income from speaking.
Yeah.
I, for example,
Hmm.
and the speakers that I work with, we monetize ourselves in multiple different ways, which is what makes speaking a multiple 6-figure career by itself. Here's why.
Hmm.
When I speak, I'm getting paid to speak. Then on
Yep.
top of that, I'm getting, people are buying my products, my books, my websites, whatever. I have a
Mhm.
business that people are subscribing to. I'm promoting the speaking agency all at once. That's already 4 streams of income, not to mention everything else that you can get done beyond
Mhm.
that, right? So is it necessary to have a book? No. Is it your best interest at some point or another to publish something?
Mhm.
Yes. Especially if you've already established yourself as a speaker, work with an agency for some time, you're gonna publish that book and you're instantly gonna get hundreds, if not thousands, of sales out of it.
Awesome. So this is good. Okay. So if somebody, I also believe this, Sebastian. A lot of people, when they also hear they want to write a book, they just want to write a book as soon as possible or at all costs. And most of the time, they get the book concept wrong, title wrong, story of the book wrong, every other thing wrong. So, what are some things that if a speaker is thinking about writing the book, what are some really cool ideas that they can actually incorporate to make the book really stand out as one of the bestsellers?
Well, first and foremost, yeah, you need to do some research as to what's going to be a powerful title. What are people
Okay.
looking for right now?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, niching down. Don't be too broad. Be more specific. Think about something that you're good at, a talent or a skill that you have, or part of your story that's interesting, and niche it down. Be as specific as possible what you're doing. That way, you can conquer one specific market at a time instead of just trying to go off the deep end. The same thing applies for speakers. When someone comes to me and says, "I want to be a motivational speaker," okay, that's great. But that's very broad. Now, talk to me more about what your story is. Talk to me more about what your message is. Right? I need to know specifics. The smaller that you can niche down, the better, because there's a higher demand in more niche markets that are more likely to pay you and help you build up from the ground up. Those are your roots. If you try to start the branches, you're going to fall apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing applies to books. Same thing applies to speaking. Niche down, do some research, work with a good publisher, and getting to the bestseller status is not as difficult as it seems. Most of my speakers end up being bestsellers at one point or another.
Interesting. Uh, that's very cool. I when I read the title of your book, you are a genius, but you sound like an idiot. That's very captivating. That is like a provocation, you know. I like let me read this book and find out what it's all about.
Right.
Yeah, it's really a good. That tells me you've done your research, which is really cool. When you talk about motivational speaking, I personally believe that motivational speaking is an old school. That was in the days of Les Brown, when they were in the speaking
Right.
industry. I think most people today, I used to tell my colleagues at the National Speakers Association of Minnesota that they should not call themselves motivational speaker. They should call themselves inspirational speaker, corporate trainer, corporate speaker, all of that.
Mhm.
What do you think about this concept of motivational speaker? Do you believe speakers should still call themselves motivational speaker, or they should find contemporary words and terminologies that they can replace the old school of motivational speaker with, and why?
Well, yes, I do agree. I think if you label yourself as a motivational speaker and you try to get booked out as a motivational speaker, what's likely to happen is you're going to have a hard time finding business.
There we go.
Not only is it too broad, but the actual takeaway is very unclear.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it this way. If I'm a corporation, I have $30,000 to allocate and pay a speaker to come in and speak at my corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to want to hire? A guy that comes to me has a strong and clear message, a niche that says, well, for example, I'm going to write right here. I got Dr. Phillips' book. He's one of my speakers. I got it right here.
Mm-hmm.
Missing links. It talks about workplace culture, improving the workplace culture, finding the problems that a lot of corporations can't find within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is a very corporate example. Not all speakers fall into this. But what I'm trying to say is have a clear message. As a corporation, who am I going to want to hire? Dr. Phillip or some guy that says, hey, I'm a motivational speaker?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the guy that has a clear message and clear takeaway. Clarity is so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, to give you an example that's less corporate and more so in the general space, like let's say someone is just looking to be of course, maybe a motivational speaker, but they want to be more specific, right? Well, what should they do? They should first think about their audience. Am I looking to talk to people or entrepreneurs, businesses? If it's people, again, articulate a clear message. One of my speakers who I just coached this morning, her name is Angie Pichardo. She's a Christian woman who had overdosed and died and had been resuscitated. She came back to life after dying. She was dead for a couple of minutes, which is insane. And that gives a very clear message. My main takeaway is helping people find their purpose. So instead of saying, hi, my name is Angie and I'm a motivational speaker, which does nothing for her portfolio, it does not do her justice. Instead, it is a disservice to her. Instead of saying that, she says, my name is Angie. I'm someone who died and came back to life, and now I dedicate my life to helping people find their purpose.
Mm,
That is how you articulate yourself as a speaker.
mm,
So be specific. Don't just label yourself a motivational speaker.
mm,
Find what it is that you really want to do and communicate it that way.
mm. Interesting. Great. So this is getting it. We are getting it very serious right now. Yeah, I have been thinking about this concept of motivational speaking, and it's not really making a lot of sense to me. So now that you have your message, what next? So what do you have to tell speakers that they already found their message? How do they get the stages? How do they get the gigs? How do they get the opportunities?
Well, that's the hard part, right?
Hmm.
Being a speaker, it's a game of being at the right place at the right time and knowing the right people and having the right message and having the right platform and all these different kinds of things. A lot of stars have to align.
Hmm.
So what I recommend is what is usually a little bit easier is finding podcasts, but that's not always what people are looking for. And even then it can be very difficult.
Yep.
So I encourage people to do this. Look for an agency or a bureau. I would usually always suggest an agency instead. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I run an agency, but it is so crucial. People that can help you be at the right place at the
Yeah.
right time without you having to lift a finger. People that can market you on your behalf. Otherwise, it's a lot of work that you're doing. I mean, each of my speakers have an allocated team of at least 10 agents who are networking all day long for them, right?
Mm,
And that secures us a couple of stages a month, right? But imagine doing that by yourself. You don't
mm,
have all day to network for yourself. You don't have all day to pitch yourself to event organizers.
mhm.
I mean, you'd be lucky to get one stage a year at that pace, right?
Yeah.
So if you're starting off into speaking, realize that you could start with a couple bureaus, you can start with a Toastmasters, you can start with some podcasts, but ultimately your main breakthrough is going to be when you work with an agency.
Awesome. Great. Let's talk about monetization.
Mhm.
What are the various ways that after you got your message out there, you're ready to share it? How do you monetize the message beyond the stage?
Well, it's simple. There's a couple things that you can do. First of all, obviously, there's the possibility of getting paid to speak, which every speaker should get to that level sooner or later.
Mhm.
But then it's by having other products. And again, when you're speaking, you can have anything. A
Mhm.
personal brand can sell anything over a corporate brand or like a LLC brand. When you have something more personal, they're working with you, not with your product. So what does that mean? That means that if I publish a book today, I'm going to get sales guaranteed. If I publish or if I decide to launch a new website, I'm going to get traction guaranteed no matter what.
Mhm.
So best ways to monetize yourself as a beginner speaker who isn't getting paid to speak, it's simple. If you can, yeah, like I said, have a book. If not, have a website, have a coaching program, have something that people can connect with you on, or even just have social media.
Mhm.
Your social media as a speaker is very fast. And then getting
Mhm.
paid to make content is very easy at that point
Mhm.
on, right? So that's what I would encourage anyone to do. It is very easy to monetize yourself as a speaker.
Mhm. Awesome. Cool. So when you look at speakers like Tony Robbins,
Mhm.
these guys have been in the industry for ages, and they still keep their names keep appearing at the top of the list.
Yep.
And we have speakers that are emerging every single day, aspiring speakers, established speakers. But at times, it's just very challenging to break the records of people like Tony. So, what do you have to say to speakers listening to us and with high ambitions? And they're like, I want to hit that records in United States. I want to hit that record in Europe. I want to hit that record in Africa. When you see speakers in Africa like Vosi Tembokwaya, those are like the big names in the industry. What do you have to say based on your experience working with speakers on how to hit global records to become a sought after speaker internationally or globally?
Well, two things that I would say in that space is first off, whatever you want to do, you can set your mind to it and do it. So if you want to break those records. Be audacious, be clear, and be strong with your voice. Secondly, I would also say this. Speaking isn't speaking isn't a sport, it's an art. Speaking isn't a science. It's more of a song, like a painting. It's something more artistic in nature. And the
Mhm.
reason why I say that is this, right? How many records has the Mona Lisa broken? Well, I mean, it's a painting, right? How many records has the statue of the thinker, the statue of David broken? I mean, it's art. It's not
Mhm,
objectively better or worse than any other
mhm,
piece of art. It's subjective, right? Your
mhm,
speaking is subjective, and your worth is also subjective depending on where you're at, right?
mhm.
I would say more than obsessing over breaking records of other speakers, break
Yep,
your own records.
I love
Show
that.
yourself what you can do,
Mhm,
because look, if I put Tony Robbins to speak in front of a group of, I don't know, women in African countries, he's not
mhm,
going to do very well.
mhm,
If I put this wonderful woman that I know called Angelique Kapoor to speak, or even Christine Herbert, another one of my speakers, to speak
mhm,
in front of that same group of people, they're
mhm.
going to change lives.
Yeah.
Your value has nothing to do with who you are, it's who you're speaking to. If you
Mm.
have a bottle of water and you try to sell it to me here in Orlando, Florida, and you try to sell it to me for $100, I'm going to tell you, get out of my face. I can get water for free here.
Oh
Now, if I'm in the
yeah.
Sahara Desert and I'm dying of thirst and you come with me with a bottle of water, I'm going to pay you every penny that I have in my pocket for it, right?
Mhm.
Value depends on where you go. Don't try to
Okay.
break records of people that do completely different things than you. Be your own person, break your own records. You're going to see how big of a demand there is for your voice because no one else has it.
I particularly love the way you responded to this question, Sebastian.
Mm,
That's so cool, bro. That's so
thank
cool.
you.
Now let's dive deeper into this conversation. I know we cannot talk about this conversation podcast, monetizing, speaking, scaling with that AI. We're in the AI era. But before we get to AI, I was actually reading a book. I was listening to a very great book by author C. Brooks, From Strength to Strength. He talked
Mm,
about two types of intelligence: the crystallized intelligence and the fluid intelligence. Okay, from the age of 15 moving upward to 40, a lot of high performers are doing so well. 45, they're hitting very hard. 50, they're hitting very hard. But
mm,
as they advance from 50 to 60, 70, the momentum, the energy, the impact begins to slow down, slows down, slows
right.
down. And they become very frustrated at that point. You see, people who demand a lot of respect, people who were held at the entrance of any aircraft, any conference, they, people don't really longer care that much as they used to care in their days of energy. And they
Mm,
become very frustrated, and the impact begins to slow down, and that frustration, that desperation comes because they feel like I'm no longer relevant. I'm no longer too useful. I'm no longer important to the people that I used to be important to them. And that can get to a state of mental health that can actually create a lot of chaos in someone's career. And so Brooks talked about the fluid intelligence is before 50, where you are at your peak, and then the crystalline intelligence is after 50. And he said that the flute, you have to deliver there. Then you go to crystalline, you have to stop being the game or the front person and become the coach. Because the only way you can add more value as you advance 50, 60, 70 is not to be on all stages, but to be sending people and coaching them to those stages. And that is where you can get so much value and relevance still in your older ages. What do you have to say to speakers that they
mm.
have marked, that they have put a dent in the speaking industry?
Well,
And
I'll put it this way.
okay, okay. So let me put this way: what do you have to say to speakers, okay, that they are above 60 years and still looking for more stages? 70 years still looking for stages. 80 years still looking for stages. Uh, Probably over staying behind, coaching people who can get to those stages.
Yeah, well, I'll put it this way. Yesterday, I met with a close friend of mine who's one of the top realtors in Central Florida. His name is TJ Connor, an incredible realtor. He actually taught me way back when I used to be a realtor. And he says to me, he's a 45-year-old man, and he says to me, Sebastian, I'm bored. I'm a little bored of real estate. It's too easy to me. I feel like I don't have the same hunger that I used to. I used to be super passionate about it. And now it's like, I mean, I got deals that come to me. I don't even think about it. I'm just closing like nothing. And then that's it, which
Mhm.
is obviously a good problem to have. But when you've mastered a game, it tends to get boring.
That's right.
You tend to lose your passion. And then that's why you feel like you're not relevant anymore. It's not because you're not, it's because
Yeah.
you stop having the same passion that you used to. So, what did I say to TJ? Well, TJ, it sounds like what you need to do is start focusing on legacy. What are
Mhm.
you going to leave behind?
Yeah.
What impact are you going to have in the real estate field?
Hmm.
So I told him, why don't we sit down next week? I'm going to help you become a speaker and a coach in the real estate space so
Mhm.
that you can focus now on leaving a legacy. What that's going to do for him is it's going to, first of all, become three new sources of income for him: getting paid for speaking, getting paid for his coaching services,
Mhm.
and more real estate deals, right? So it's the smartest move that he has right now to do. Secondly, it's going to be now an inspiration to himself. It's going to be a purpose, mission that he's going to be able to embark on, where it's now he's going to be helping people change their lives,
Mhm.
teaching everything that he knows.
Mhm.
So if you're an older speaker, you're still looking for stages, you're still looking to speak, consider the legacy that you're leaving behind.
That's lovely. Great. I hope the message has been received by whoever is concerned. Let's talk AI. What are some tools that you think every speaker is supposed to have been using by right now? Because I had a very startling statistic the other day from
Mhm.
an AI expert. He said every single 3 months that you're not adapting and learning AI tools to scale your business in this dispensation, you are wasting over 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
And that really blew my mind away. And so, what do you have to say as the best tools that every speaker right now they need to start leveraging on to be more productive in their speaking space?
Well, here's what I always say. You know what's worse than not using AI?
Nope.
It's using AI the wrong way.
Mm,
And a lot of businesses right now are shooting themselves in the foot because they're using AI to replace themselves instead
mm,
of amplify themselves. AI is a tool for amplification, not replacement. If you try to replace yourself or your business with AI, what's going to happen is you're going to lose all of your client base.
mm,
Nobody today wants to work with AI agents or anything like that, right? Sure, people will hire them and will use them in the background of their business, but
mhm,
as a client, the last thing that you want to do is talk to a bot. You know, you'd never want that. Clients don't want people.
mhm,
People right now, people want people more than
mhm.
ever before.
Okay,
What
just
do you
hold on
need
there
to do?
a little bit, Sebastian. Before this is very important. The point you're making is very powerful. I wanted to simplify it in such a way that everybody can understand. So I want to act like I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to give what is the dichotomy between amplifying your business with AI and replacing your business with AI, please, before you dive into the explanation.
Yes, yeah. So
Mhm.
replacing your business means that the front end, what people see, is all AI replaced. So, for
Yeah.
example, AI social media content,
Mhm.
AI bots that your clients have to respond to,
Mhm.
AI written speeches, AI written content, things like that,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
That, in my opinion, is a negative way of using AI because people can
Okay.
pick that up and they don't like
Mm.
that, right?
That's right.
However, AI is a super powerful tool if used correctly. The
Mm.
way to use AI correctly to amplify, not
Mm.
replace, is by on the back end, you establish tools that are going to accelerate what otherwise would take humans a long time to do. For example, in my agency, we use quite a bit of AI in the back end for networking purposes, but we have an agent that's managing all of that because
Mm.
AI by itself is still not at the level where it can run unsupervised. It
Mm.
tends to make a lot of mistakes. It does
Mm.
not work
Yeah.
flawlessly. A lot of people are spending a lot of money hiring agencies to build them AI employees and things like that. And that's fine. But frankly, people are wasting a lot of money on that
Mhm.
because they're using it wrong. They're thinking that, oh, I'll just build this and then I don't got to worry about it ever again. No, you still need humans to supervise the AI, right? But the good news is I would have to have 10 agents managing 100 agents to have the same efficiency that I have, giving each of my 10 agents AI, right?
Mm.
So we're still doing way more than what a human being could do, but we're doing it the right way. We're using it on the back end. My clients never have to talk with AI. They're only ever talking with people who are managing some AI tools, uh, to fully network them, and they're seeing a lot of success because of that. A lot of success very quickly. So again, amplify, don't replace.
Beautiful. What do you have to say to somebody listening to us right now who is in 9 to 5 in United States and it's like, damn, I don't have time for myself. I don't have time for my family. I go work, home, pay mortgage, pay car bills, pay this gas and pay insurance, pay subscription. and I'm left with nothing. I was listening to a podcast by Jay Shetty lately, and he was interviewing a very interesting investor, and he said something very interesting. He said, if
Mhm.
you are actually working, and he said an average American does not have up to $2,000 in their bank account for emergency.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, an
yeah, it's very
average
true.
American is not having up to $2,000 for emergency. So if anything happen right now, whatever money they'll use is gonna be from credit card. I'm like, damn. So what do you have to say to those who listen to us and they're tired of living from paycheck to paycheck, from credit card to credit card, and they believe that the speaking industry can actually rescue them? Would they
Well,
have a
it
story?
can. It definitely can, especially if you're
Okay.
an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But funnily enough, Oliver, my first business, the one that I blew up through speaking, is actually
Mhm.
in finance, where I help people learn about investments. Investment is the best way to give yourself more breathing space because it's effectively utilizing money to multiply money, right? Which means let's say you got $50 left over at the end of your week, which is nothing. That sucks.
Okay.
Uh, if you can plant those seeds into something and have that be something that grows, well, now you're looking at a little bit of extra money every week, right?
Yeah.
So investing is important. That's one of the first things that I would say.
Mhm.
Um, that was my first business, and I still run that today. It has over a
Mhm.
thousand members.
Mhm.
But now to your question, can the speaking industry or career save someone's finances? The
Mhm.
answer is yes. However, to be completely upfront, speaking is an investment at first. You have to grow yourself.
Mhm.
Unless that you're already someone that has spoken and says, hey, I'm ready to get paid to speak, which
Mhm.
some people are in that position,
Mhm.
well, then, yeah, you absolutely can. But otherwise, what I would say is this: focus on building yourself up as a speaker, as an
Mhm.
individual, work with an agency, have a product, and then you can firsthand watch how quickly you can begin to explode as a speaker.
That's okay. That's interesting. This guy said something in this podcast with Jay Shetty. He said, as a, whatever you're doing, investment. When you get your paycheck, 70%, you should not spend more than 70%. It's more than 75% of the money, and then 15% should be on investment, 10% should be on saving. Okay, he said 75% on expenses, 15% on investment, and
Right.
then 10% on savings. Now, if we need to adopt this as a case study, Sebastian, as an aspiring speaker who is still right now in the 9 to 5, how will you love that person listening to us right now to distribute this money, especially the 15% on investment? What kind of businesses will you recommend speakers to invest in so that in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they can be able to scale their speaking business because of the investment they started doing after
Yeah.
listening to us?
Yeah, well, I would say explore agencies that are going to directly help you to become a speaker. Ideally, work with an agency that can operate commission based.
Mhm.
There's never going to be an agency that's going to operate only commission based, especially if you're not a paid speaker, but they'll be able to at least cut down their flat fee by a little bit if you're going to be operating commission based, which is good.
Okay.
And now, secondly, the other thing that I would look to do is start off with some simple, safe. Again, I do specialize in finance as well. So start off with that 50% that you're investing into the market and do it safely. Buy blue chip stocks that are also growth stocks, set trailing stop losses, and do dollar cost averaging, where you're buying an X amount of X amount of money invested every month or every week if you have the money for it. That's going to help you build a powerful, more than powerful savings account where now it's growing instead of just being eaten up by inflation. In a couple of months, what that's going to let you do is it's going to let you work with agencies that are going to let you grow yourself as a speaker and your business at the same time. So that would be my recommended steps. Anyone listening to this right now that's struggling financially but wants to do more with their life, look at the stock market, look at blue chip stocks that are also growth stocks, catch them at low points, start buying them once a week or once a month at other low points, and make sure to set a trailing stop loss so that your money is safe as it continues to grow. And that's very important because that's going to give you more breathing room and more money to play with when it comes time to invest in yourself.
I love that. And this is very important. I recently learned that when you are investing, you pay less tax than you spending the money.
Yep.
So the government takes less tax from investors than from people who spend. That's a game changer, bro.
Yeah, well,
That's
America is a funny system for that reason. America is a system, it seems like we're taking more from the poor than from the rich.
Mhm,
And, well, we can talk about that. There's also a lot of political issues here that I won't get into.
mhm,
Um, but I choose to look at it this way. America gives us the blueprint. It tries to almost encourage you to do those things, right?
mhm.
By taxing you less. It says, hey, I tax you less if you invest. Hey, I tax you less if you're a business owner. So, this is the way to make money. It's America's way of hinting towards where you have to go.
Mm, interesting. Did you say the American try to? What did you say?
That America hints to us
Mhm.
what we should be doing with our money through those tax benefits. It seems counterintuitive at first. Why would America tax investors less? Right? But the
Mhm.
reason why is because they're trying to tell you, hey, this is what you should be doing. This is what you need to be getting into, right? That's America hinting it.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. That's interesting. And as a man of faith, I love this. Um, I believe with all the instructions given to us from the Bible, there's a particular scripture that I can't remember right now that says that you are going to be the head and not the tail. And when I listened to someone explain that very detailedly, he said the head actually controls the tail and the body. So you think about the cow, the tail of
Mhm.
the cow only follows the head of the cow. And by the head, that's where your brain is, that's where your mind is, that's where your
Right.
intellect is. So it drives the entire body. And so it means that for us to teams of systems put together by human beings. And I love that particular point. So the government has put a system, and for us to be the head, we have to think. And this resonates with what you just said, Sebastian. Okay,
Right.
like the government is giving us a hint that, hey guys, if you do it this way, you have more money than doing it that
Exactly.
way. And so
And
that's
you get
like,
taxed
okay,
less. Yeah.
exactly. So that's like, okay, you have to be the head and not the tail. And I just love this conversation. So, what are your last words to somebody listening to us right now as we wrap up?
Well, I mean, the message is clear. You need to get on stage. One way, shape, or form or another, your next big breakthrough is on stage. It's by embodying your voice. So
Mm,
that would be my first thing to recommend to people. The second thing is whatever you think is holding you back isn't. It's just you. It's just your decisions. There's always a way to achieve those things. You just need to have the audacity and the courage to break through your obstacles, but it can always be done.
beautiful. And so we have a culture in this particular podcast, Sebastian. So every speaker that we interview needs to answer a question asked by the previous, and of course, ask a question where the next guest is going to answer. All right. So before you ask your question to the next guest, I would love you to answer this question from the previous guest. So if there is one thing that the world has commissioned you to change to make the world better, what is going to be that thing you have to do to make the world better as an individual?
The next step for me is to start a nonprofit organization where I travel to other countries, find people with good stories, but not a lot of money and not a lot of opportunity in their lives, especially in countries in Africa and Asia, and then give them a voice, connect them to stages around the world. That's the next thing for me. I think that that's going to help change the world a lot because there's a lot of wonderful stories in poorer countries that don't have stages for them. So that's my next mission.
I love that. And so, what's the question to the next guest?
Huh. Well, that was a very good question that I got. I would say that I got pretty lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Let's ask the next guest this. If you could say something that everyone in the world would hear in their minds,
Mm-hmm.
all 7 billion people,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be? If you could say something that everyone in the world would hear at the same time, all together in their language, so everyone would
Mm.
understand it, what would it be?
Wow. Sebastian, your parents should be very proud of you for rescuing the entire family from your speaking business. And it is a culture at the Global Speakers Advantage podcast that we really celebrate our guests. And We look forward to having you again, and not only having you here, but to having you share some of our stages in United States and especially in Africa and other parts of the world.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
that would be so cool, bro.
Well, thank you,
And
Oliver. It's been an honor.
yeah, same here. Thank you for your time, and we're looking forward again to have you here at the Global Speakers Advantage podcast.
Likewise.
Awesome.